Okay, so Red Rising. This book was... I went into this expecting one thing and got something completely different. It was so good. It took such a small... You started out so small, Under the Mines, with Darrow and Io, and then it just exploded, and when Io died, my heart broke, because most of the time in these type of books, the main character is alone, and then he's, has a love interest, but he had a wife from the very beginning, and that created a fascinating dynamic throughout the entire series, because he was dealing with his love for this woman, and he knew her for so long. They were childhood friends, and they got married, and she was pregnant at the birth. That might have been a spoiler from Golden Sun. But she was pregnant. Like that, okay, I'm gonna move this. But it was heartbreaking. My heart broke. And then Darrow's motivation throughout the rest of Red Rising, you could tell he hated the Golds. He wanted everything just gone for his wife because of her sacrifice, and that was one of the best parts about it. And the other Golds that we met, like Cassius and Julian, Severo, so many, and Mustang. They were just fascinating, because you knew they weren't like these just cold-hearted people who were subjugating all these people on purpose. It was just the way that the society worked. It's like asking a plantation owner in the 1600s, like, why did you have slaves? And it's just like, because that's how it was. And they're trying to change that, and, well, Darrow is. And as they go through the Institute, you start to see him build this camaraderie with the Golds, and I started being like, aw, they're friends. But then I was like, he's gonna betray all his friends and take down their entire society, so this can't work. And, well, it did work until the end of Red Rising, because just his tactics, Darrow's tactics throughout the entire Institute were so interesting to read about. He was like almost this Roman conqueror, going and like ordering his armies and winning, just straight up winning the whole time. And I mean, I know some people didn't like that Darrow won so much, but I thought it was so cool, because he was, he was better than the Golds, even though he wasn't a Gold. And the best part of the entire book was when they mounted the assault on Olympus. I was flying through the pages. I was like screaming. It was awesome, because I mean, what better way to end a book than like mount an attack on the gods, or the gods? But it was so cool. And then the book ended, and I felt like, oh my god, this is so cool. I want more. Okay, Golden Sun spoilers now. So, Golden Sun. This goddamn book. Oh my god. This book. I just can't. I want to talk about the ending first, because I need to get this out of the way. The Triumph. So, throughout the entire book, we're introduced to all these characters who we, had kind of heard about or not really heard about. Like Lorne. Lorne Arkos was so cool. He was like kind of an Obi-Wan Kenobi to Darrow's Luke, but way more deadly. And it was just so cool. And then we got to visit other planets. We were in space. There were space battles, and in this book, you got to see Darrow lose a lot more, which is kind of, I guess, Brown's answer to people saying, why did Darrow win so much in Red Rising? Darrow got beat down and down, but he had his victories too. So it was an equal balance, and then it was epic at some parts, like when they assaulted Mars with the Iron Rain. Just great writing. My imagination was on fire. It was great. And then we get to the Triumph. Now there's a little book that I have. Game of Thrones. More specifically, Storm of Swords. For those of you who have not read Game of Thrones, there is an event that happens in this book, and it is known as the Red Wedding. One of the most infamous massacres in modern literature. if you know anything about the show, you know that a lot of people die. And Pierce Brown I'm organizing my books. Why am I recording this? And Pierce Brown just takes the Red Wedding and makes it worse for Golden Son. You had just... Okay, first, the Jackal. The Jackal, I was actually starting to trust him in book 2, and that should have been a major red flag because he's a dick. We hate the Jackal. If he died, I wouldn't feel bad. And I would laugh, actually, like really hard. Jackal. But basically, so the triumph. It comes, stabs us in the gut as readers, eviscerates us, and then Pierce Brown laughs and walks off and says, wait a year. Which is what happened to me. Victra got shot in the spine by her sister. Oh, and her sister, Antonia, the bitch from the first book, she also murdered her mother right in front of her. Her and the Jackal and her Bone Riders just went on. They just had fun. They killed Lorne, and then Roke, the backstabbing, we love him. Well, I loved him. I was like, Roke, awesome. And then he betrayed Darrow, and my heart was broken. I didn't see it coming. I mean, I knew Darrow had made mistakes, but I didn't think he was going to have to pay for them as much as he did. And he paid for his mistakes dearly. And then just that, what gets to me is the most was when Darrow took a step back from talking, or from Pierce Brown suspended his narration, his third person POV, and Darrow spoke directly to the reader. And he didn't speak to the reader as like, hey, reader. He spoke to EO. That killed me. At the end of Golden Son, when Darrow is, after the Jackal shows Darrow Fitchner's head, Fitchner, I was like, my mind was blown, and then my heart was broken within like 50 pages. And, I mean, God, when he speaks directly to EO, and he's like, don't watch, and we're doomed, and he starts speaking to his friends, and that is one of the most effective rhetorical strategies I've seen an author use so far. It just got to me. And then that leads into the devastating masterpiece that is Morningstar. So if you haven't read that, bye. Morningstar. This book, I read this one the fastest out of all 3, even though it's the longest. I was sucked in. Starting from his escape from Attica with Trig and Holiday. I started really when Trig and Holiday showed up to get Darrow out, I was fist pumping. I was having a great time. And then Pierce Brown's like, hey, you like those guys? One of them's dead. Trig's dead. And then later in the book, we found out that he has a fiance, and they were gonna get married, and thanks, Pierce, for just breaking my heart. And then after that, he starts getting really involved in the Sons of Ares, which Severo has completely taken over for a whole year. It's a year time jump. Time jump. I was trying to say both of those at the same time. But Severo has taken over, and it's kind of a mess, actually, because he's more focused on the bombings and retaliation other than creating a whole new society, which is what Darrow wants to. And then Darrow's speech on Phobos, that was amazing. I felt like I wanted to go to friggin' Phobos and fight for Darrow. I was ready, but I was in school, so I couldn't go to Mars. But anyways, Pax. And just, let me just say, Ragnar, when he died, I was kind of knowing it was coming, but I didn't know. And Asha, such a bitch. Hated her. But then, you know, something good comes out of it though, because we get the Valkyries with forgot her name. Sephi. How did I forget? Sephi the Quiet. We get her and her, you know, Valkyries riding griffins, and it's just awesome. First book we got some Greek Roman going on. This book we have some Norse going on, and it was great. I loved it. Loved it. And then one of my favorite parts throughout this entire series has been basically the golds viewing themselves as gods, and the lower colors basically like, nope, they're not gods, they're human, and just it's fantastic. Bloody fantastic. Bloody damn fantastic. Yeah. Anyways, the Jackal. Hate him so much. He was basically Hitler 2.0 in this series. God, I mean, he was just, there aren't words to describe how much I hate him. But okay, let's talk about one of the, Cassius. I did not like Cassius. I mean, I never really liked Cassius. I liked Julian so much better. And then Darrow had to kill him. And so then we had Cassius. And Cassius, I was like, okay, you know. And then in the first book, he was betrayed. I was like, ah, damn it, Cassius. Like, you suck. And then book 2, I was like, ah, Cassius, you're the worst. Well, and then the Jackal kind of took that over by the end. And then book 3. Cassius was like almost too noble to be bad. Like, I didn't hate him. I was just like, eh. And then Darrow kind of felt the same way. When Cassius shot Severo, I was so pissed. I was screaming. I could not believe it. We had a Severo fake out death like 20 pages earlier, and I was like dead from that, and then Severo dying again. Pierce, stop touching Severo. And basically, my faucets were empty after that. And I hated Cassius, but then we get the awesome scene in the throne room, basically, the command room on Luna, which was amazing. I did not see it coming. I was like, accurate. And just so much yes in that scene. There was so much fist pumping. It's in the air. It's great. Great stuff. Great stuff. And then the ending came. This one. The ending came. And my heart. Mustang had a baby and named him Pax. And the last scene is on Earth, and they're happily ever after. And, well, not happily ever after. Happily ever after for them at the moment. I mean, there's still other crap going on in the solar system, and, you know, the Rim's gonna rebel. But, like, it ended in such a good place. One of the great ending. The whole arc of the entire series had come to fruition. Mustang was awesome. She, you know, she's a leader now. Darrow had basically redeemed himself for himself. And I just, so good. And I can't wait for the Iron Gold trilogy, because it's going to probably break me more than this, you know, has. But anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I guess I'm gonna make more of these. So if you like this crazy awkward teenager, stick around and you might get more. my next few reads are Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe, and Truth Witch, and after that, you know, who knows. So I'll be posting videos about those soon. So bye!